We're honored to have with us the CFO today of Castelion. It is a new defense company. I'm going to let him tell you all about it. But Andrew Kreitz, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. We are excited to be doing what we're doing, which is changing the way the United States develops and manufactures long-range hypersonics.
So when I met with you out in LA with Secretary Hegseth, I was fascinated in that discussion and that briefing you gave us because I'm a former aeronautical engineer. I got it. And I was fascinated with the innovation you were talking about at Castelion. But before we get into that, tell me about your background. How did you get to where you are?
Sure. So I think for me personally, as long as I can remember, I have been a defense and history nerd. Really interested in U.S. history, especially and military history, and especially interested in that in the context of how we manage national security, especially as I was growing up in sort of the post-Cold War era. Wanted to be an Army officer. I was an Army National Guardsman, and I was an Army ROTC cadet when I was an undergrad. It's kind of a long story, but ended up getting medically discharged. Unfortunately, I never had an opportunity to commission, but I had a lot of friends that were in and stayed in. I still, I didn't have the opportunity to serve as an Army officer, but I still wanted to find ways to contribute to national security. And I was an econ undergrad, so I ended up pursuing a career in finance, but I tried to steer that career back into national defense. So I spent a little while at Goldman Sachs. I was an investment banker covering aerospace and defense. For me personally, I really want to get closer to the product and to the mission. It was interesting, managing it from sort of the finance side, from the banking side, but I wanted to be in the trenches, close to product development, close to the customer, trying to really drive sort of the engineering and manufacturing progress. So I went to SpaceX. I was there for a couple of years on the finance team. I handled financial planning analysis for all of our classified programs. I did our government proposal work. That's where I met my two co-founders, our CEO, Brian Hargis, COO, Sean Pitt. We all met at SpaceX. That's where I met actually a lot of the engineers and team members that are here at Castelion today. A lot of us worked on a program called Starshield, which is a SpaceX satellite capability, national security satellite capability. And, happy to talk more about it, but ultimately through that line of work, that's where we saw the real national need for a company like Castelion. We saw the need for scale production of hypersonics. And then we left at the end of 2022 to start Castelion, and it's been off to the races ever since.
So you were at Goldman. I was a bond trader about 20 years back in the day at various firms. But does Wall Street get what you're doing yet? I mean, have the analysts got kind of the unicorn new defense contractor thing that's happening really in DOW across the board?
It's really interesting. They are starting to be honest. So when I was there, I covered it from 2016 to 2020. And hey, I am a capitalist all the way. Sure. I think during that time, though, what was happening was the incentives that we saw from the government, from the market, were leading companies to look. It was a low growth, low margin sector. It wasn't attracting capital. The most efficient thing to do at the time, if there's not a demand for munitions, people, I think, were pretty complacent and thought, hey, if we need to ramp up production, we can. Plus, we don't, at that time, people were starting to get their heads around China, but I don't think people really wrapped their heads around how big a threat that would be. I say all that because there wasn't a lot of production capacity and there wasn't new capacity being invested in. There's really been a sea change. In the last few years, especially, first with venture capital coming in and growth equity coming in, people see where the need is. They see that if they deploy capital here, companies like Castelion can put it to work fast. And there's a lot of momentum building. There's a lot of enthusiasm building. And like I said, it kind of started with venture capital, but it's going all the way up to the big guys today. And just to continue on that thread real quick, to me, it's really encouraging because I would say that this is the American system in action. You have entrepreneurs, they see the need in national security. we saw the need to change the way that we're manufacturing munitions. You've got the capital providers that are patriots and that also see kind of the economic opportunity and go, all right, let's deploy our capital, and you get the innovation going. And I think that there's a lot that we can unlock through entrepreneurship, innovation, private capital deployment that, frankly, I don't think our adversaries can through central planning. I think that's really exciting.
So $1.5 trillion defense budget, that doesn't hurt, right? I mean,
it does not. Well, it's really interesting. It's really, I mean, frankly, it's impressive. I think, you know, the word that always comes to my mind is complacency. I think we got really complacent after the end of the Cold War. Complacency is part of it. There's also, look, our focus, for very good reasons, for a long time was on small wars and counterinsurgency.
Sure.
And I think it's really encouraging because you've got the new users coming in, but then if you also have a budget of that size to really kick things into gear, that attracts more private capital. It gets everybody going max speed. You know, Elon used to always say, pressurize the system and plug the leaks. This is a really good way to pressurize the system, find the leaks, plug them, put in new plumbing. It's going to give us a lot of momentum.
Wow. So let's talk about the product. I mean, what does Castelion do? I mean, what is the main flagship's Blackbeard, right?
Yes. So Blackbeard is our first product. And that is I can't get into specifics on ranges, of course, but that is a medium-ranged strike weapon. And I think that what's really exciting about it is we are designing it to be low cost, highly manufacturable. We want to be making literally thousands of these a year. We're building a huge facility out in New Mexico in order to enable that. And that's the call from our customers, right? It isn't just capability, it's quantity. And it's also a multi-platform weapon. So if you look at some of these announcements, you can see we have contracts with the US Navy. We have contracts for weapons integration with the Army onto HIMARS. So we can increase the production rate of these to get costs down. And if we can equip a lot of different platforms for a lot of different use cases with the same missile, that is a really efficient way of adding this new capability to the force.
So you threw out some range numbers. I think you were saying one round today of this type of weapon is in the millions, and you're down well below 500,000 a click. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. We're aiming for an order of magnitude price reduction over kind of the analogous systems, as well as an order of magnitude increase in production rate.
And you're talking thousands, right? I mean, not
that's
production.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we are scaling. We call Project Ranger. We are scaling our New Mexico production facility to be producing mid-single-digit thousands of Blackbeards at full rate.
And that is what, 2027 timeframe when that's going to really scale up, or what?
Will be the intent is we're delivering the first production units to customers in 2027, and then we'll be ramping up production rate quite rapidly in late 27, all throughout 28 and into 2029, hitting full rate and going maximum capacity there.
So tell me about Project Ranger. It's a huge facility in New Mexico. I think it's north of Albuquerque, near Rio Rancho, that area. That's Sandia Labs, Los Alamos, Albuquerque, Kirkland Air Force Base. All of that is out there.
Exactly right.
Tell me about the project. Is it linked into those facilities, or is it kind of a standalone?
Your government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
A warm welcome here at the National Press Club. Welcome to the journalists, welcome to the Embraer team, and welcome to the other guests that we have here. I'm going to announce, and as some of you guessed it right when they came in, the first E2 order by an American operator. And that operator is Avello. We believe this is really a strategic shift to unlock profitability for the customer. I'm very pleased that we have Andrew Levy here as the CEO of Avello, and I'm very pleased to give the stage to share a little bit more about what Avello is going to do with the E2 195. Thank you very much.
couldn't be more excited to be here as part of this historic announcement. We have such a great cultural fit as companies, so we're very, very excited to be Embraer's newest customer. We launched our airline in April of 21, and our target is focusing on small secondary airports of large metro areas. We've carried over 8 million customers since we started on 63,000 flights. And we've done all these things with 1,200 of the greatest crew members I could ever imagine having, and many of them are here with me today. This is the right airplane for us. It's going to open up opportunities for us that no other aircraft can serve. The best thing about the airplane, of course, is you will not find a middle seat on this airplane. It doesn't exist. We won't have any to offer. It's going to be the best cabin in the United States, and we're so excited about that. This is going to elevate our experience to the highest level, and we think our customers are absolutely going to love the airplane.
No, it is. It is. So it's really interesting. We did a very broad site selection process to identify the Ranger site. We looked all over the country, and what we need to execute, we need a couple things, right? We need, first of all, the right talent base. You need the right people, and you need enough people to be able to do this. You need a lot of land, and you need a state that understands the problem set and is willing to move fast and really engage. And we got all three of those in New Mexico. So to your point, Sandia National Labs is the national expert in hypersonics. And you also have a lot of expertise at Los Alamos. Kirtland is there, as you noted. Further south, you also have White Sands Missile Range and Spaceport America, which is a private range, but we've done testing there in the past. They're great to work with. And the university system there is also actually very much, because of National Labs, is very much geared towards these specialties. So you've got a lot of talent to draw from. We were able to secure a very large site. It's close to 1,000 acres, but it's still quite close to the Albuquerque metro, so that it's commutable for people. And then lastly, honestly, hats off to the state of New Mexico, Sandoval County, city of Rio Rancho. What we found, so often you read about these projects getting held up by local politics or state regulation or whatever it may be. We've been really impressed. We signed the lease to secure the site in October, and we broke ground in November, thanks to the partnership with the folks in New Mexico. And we're going maximum speed right now. So we're really excited.
There's been a lot of pushback in the communities, like some of the data center build out, et cetera. I noticed an article on your site about your interaction with the community. Tell us about that. How did that go?
So it's, I always say it's true. I think if somebody were building a hypersonic missile factory, a few miles away from my town, I'd have a lot of questions too. We had a number of community meetings. We went out, spoke with members of the community. I did a lot of those myself. And our philosophy at Castelion is, look, we want to be good neighbors. We want to be good partners. We need to go fast because our customers need us to go fast. But, if you engage with people and you help answer their questions and you help them understand, look, here's the jobs we're bringing. Here's why we're able to do this safely. You're worried about XYZ. Let's talk about XYZ. I really genuinely think that the best thing you can do is be transparent and be honest and engage with people. Is every last person in the region supportive? No, you're always going to have some naysayers, but overall, we have our sort of question intake form and our email addresses for community members who are interested. The overwhelming majority of the responses we're getting are, hey, when are you hiring? What kind of roles are you hiring? So I feel really good about it. I think we've got a lot of support there. And yeah, we're excited to start hiring and get going this year.
So when I was at the Air Force Academy, we learned a lot about skunk works, and yes. I asked you that in the briefing there. But tell us your desert rat story. That was really intriguing to me.
Yes. So it's funny because we'll have to send you one of the new hoodies. The desert rat has sort of become our mascot. So in the early days of Castelion, this is early 2023, early to mid 2023. Very small company. We're 200 plus people today, but at the time it was a dozen dozen people, the co-founders and some engineers, and we were working on solid rocket motors.
Mm-hmm.
And we partnered with a private site up in Mojave where we were able to do mixing and casting of motors, static firing, and flight testing. And look, I'm our CFO, but in a startup, you do everything you need to do. So
Sure.
I had my Tyvek suit and my respirator, and I was helping the engineers mix the solid rocket motors and help cast them. Our chief engineer, who's brilliant, Jacob Sweers, he has a military surplus truck, which he's converted into basically a camper. He was out there for weeks at a time, literally camped out in the desert, and we'd head up there and join him and spend days at a time working on solid rocket motors, bolting things together, mixing propellant, static firing, melting a motor, figuring out what went wrong, and iterating again. So yes, we were the desert rats. We spent a lot of time out in the middle of nowhere. But the reality is that is how the company got going. And I'm really proud of the fact that I think that that's still our ethos today. We're growing, we're going to continue to grow. There's a lot more process to do all of this in a repeatable way. But I think that scrappiness is really core to what helps us succeed and what helps us move fast.
Fantastic. I was just at Fort Bragg for the Joint Innovation Outpost opening, and literally they throw, they have academia and military and industry, and they throw stuff on the table and say, we got to make, it's like that scene in Apollo 13. Yeah. Yes. So that's happening there. Are you getting requests for, like, in real time, we need something like this, can you build it? Is that coming through on your end?
It's interesting. Things like that do happen from time to time. Mm-hmm. I think that they will happen even more once Blackbeard is being fielded. Our experience at SpaceX on Starshield was as soon as we had sort of the first capabilities being delivered and people saw, oh, this isn't just, they're building hardware, they're smart guys, but no, this is really working, it's being fielded. Then everyone shows up asking for help on X, Y, or Z. So we have some of those inbounded. I expect we'll see a lot more. I will tell you though, I do think, and our engineers and my co-founders, Brian, Sean, I think are really good about this. Focus really, really matters. Mm-hmm. We need to solve as many critical problems as we can, but I do really think that one of the worst things you can do is you spread yourself out too thin and you do a lot of things badly. Yes. For us, it's really important that we focus all of our effort on, hey, let's get Blackbeard working. Let's get it, in scale production. And then we want to tackle as many problems as we can, but let's make sure we're tackling them in a focused, fast way.
Totally get it. Any other products in the pipeline that you guys are looking at?
We do have a second product, which is a larger and longer ranged weapon system. We call that Leviathan. We're investing in that with IRAD, internally funded R&D dollars right now. I would say we're optimistic about the opportunities that will emerge there, but I can't talk too much about it yet.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you. Is there anything else you want to get out while I've got you on Castelion?
Honestly, what I would say is, look, we're in a great position. We have great customers inside the War Department, inside the Armed Services. We got a great team here. We've got great investors. The limiting factor to our progress, like the bottleneck today and the bottleneck that we're going to have for years to come, is human capital. The best engineers, the best people. Look, we're looking for people that are sharp, but we're also looking for people that are high initiative. Mm-hmm. And my message for anyone watching this, if you are interested in working in the defense sector, come to our website, look at the careers page. If you know people with the right skill sets, we are always hiring. We've got high standards. We've got real technical requirements here, but what we need is the best people, and that's what's going to enable us to keep moving fast.
Interesting. One more question. Do you look at junior officers who may not have that, industry experience, but maybe have the drive and initiative coming out of the military? Is that something that you would pursue?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We have a few who have come over. We need, I think you need the right, for most seats, the right technical skill set. But if you've got the right skills and the right attitude, 100%.
Yeah. Excellent. Andrew Kreitz, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
A pleasure. Thank you. It's great chatting.
Take care.